Hey, it's Ty again. So the question is, how do you actually start playing around with code? I know it could be daunting. It was for me for sure. But I want to give you kind of just some concepts that every coding language has, what I'll refer to as like logical constructs, right? All languages have these, and it'll help you kind of pick up different languages as you go. Um, so essentially, what a program is it moves data, processes it, and then it outputs something. So input, process, output. I'm not talking about AI. I'm just talking about a program. It's literally just automating something. You're taking in some data, processing, output. Um, so kind of just like our brain, essentially we're taking in some sort of input, we're going to process it, and we're going to output it. And I'll use this across the board just as an example. So just like we can hear and smell and taste and touch and see, we also have data types when it comes to programs. So essentially programs take in some data and they care about what type it is because you have to process it a certain way to really kind of understand what you're dealing with, right? So there's just a simple logical construct. So now we take this logical construct and we assign some sort of name to it. So now we have this thing that we have a name and a type of, right? So now we can refer to and kind of decision on what we want to do with it. So then when you have a variable and a data type, then you start to move into logical like processing. So you have these logical operators that you would use to compare these two things and take into account these two things. So what these would essentially be is they'd be a character like an equal sign or something along those lines. And you would say this equals this, or this is greater than this, or this is less than this, and so on. You would take those operators and those variables with those values and those data types, and you can build more on top of that and start to put them into something called an if statement. So then from there, you have something called syntax. So what syntax is each language takes all of these logical constructs and they put it together in a way that that you have to abide by, and you would write it different ways using different small things like semicolons or white space or things like that. And essentially what this would do is it would construct a file that you would then be able to run, and it would do this processing for you. Again, you're taking in data, you're processing it using data types, variables, logical operators, and keywords, and then you're outputting something. So this is just logical processing. This is, again, what makes up a program. Then you would have something called language familiarity is what I'll call it. You start to become more familiar with that language and how things are written, and then it becomes just more fluid because you just understand logically how it works. These core logical constructs is what you'll use to build any program. I still do it today. They don't go away, and they're used in all the programming languages that we have. They've been around since the beginning of time. So that's all I have for today. If you have any other questions or comments, go ahead and put it down there. Hit subscribe for me if you'd like to hear more, and stay tuned for another video.